Perran, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
I kind of want to focus this episode on turning your passion into a business. So can you tell us a bit about what you do and how you got into it?
Yeah, for sure. So I run a video production company, but we obviously offer photography, which more recently happens to be the bulk of my work. It kind of started off, to be honest, like photography had always been a bit of a hobby. And then when I was 18, I think I bought my first camera, um, like first proper camera, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I kind of threw myself into the world of video. And I'd had a bit of work experience in London, and up in Glasgow doing sort of post-production, helping out on some sets, and sort of doing some C&D cam operation. Really, really loved it and saw the potential for that to be a business. So that was my initial push. So when I launched, a week before lockdown,
All right.
actually, I don't even think it was that long. I think it was like a couple of days before lockdown. It was March 19th was when I launched my business, 2020.
Tricky time to launch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
As you can imagine, like everything went through my head. Like, what am I doing? Is this the right time? Am I just being, am I just going to throw everything away?
Yeah.
But, obviously at the time we sort of thought, oh, lockdown's only going to be 2 weeks, but how naive.
4 years later, whatever it was.
4 years later, yeah, that's
Yeah.
it, that's it. But throughout the whole thing, I just had this mentality of like, right, if I can make it through this, I can pretty much make it through anything. Like, this is probably the worst the world's gonna throw at me.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a rocky start, shall we say?
Yeah.
But it really gave me an opportunity to sort of spend that time building the foundations of the business.
Yeah, I was going to say, because obviously your business, you're working closely with clients, and obviously you couldn't do that in lockdown. So did you spend that time? What were you doing? How are you getting those foundations?
I actually managed to get one client that I worked with throughout lockdown. So I wrote it into my business plan because I'd basically been writing my business plan in the sort of 3-month lead up to lockdown. So there was sort of whisperings of it happening elsewhere in the world. So I thought, well, I'd rather be prepared for it than not at all. Like,
Yeah.
if I was to write the plan and it was in the plan and then it didn't happen, okay, great. Well,
Yeah.
I was prepared for it. But yeah, I mean, I was quite well planned for it. And one of the things that I'd sort of thought about was socially distanced filming,
Yeah.
which is quite easy to do because you just need to slap a zoom lens on there and then you're kind of good.
Okay.
And a lot of the filming
yeah.
we were doing was outdoors as well, so we could maintain sort of social distancing and that kind of thing. And yeah, I was very grateful to work with that client, and they sort of kept me afloat through that first year, really.
Sure.
First year of lockdown. Yeah, but then for the rest of the time, I was just like really just looking into the foundations of business and understanding, okay, like what do I really need to have in place? Spent a bit of time sort of designing my website, looking at sort of different systems and processes that I might want to adopt for my business. Obviously researching into new technology that may well be out by the time that the lockdown was over. So yeah, it was a good sort of mix of things, but I felt like it helped me get a really sort of stable base to kind of build on.
Sure. So you mentioned a business plan. Tell us a bit about what that looked like, because some people they don't start a business plan; they just go straight into it. Things change, but you sound like you had a very clear direction at the start.
I did, yeah. I mean, I'm very grateful to the guidance that I received. So I went to after my A-levels, I went to Suffolk New College and did a level 4 in creative enterprise. So basically, they just sort of, I don't want to say teach you because it was very self-directed study, but they sort of guide you and there to assist you in setting up a business in the creative industry. And they really, really drummed into us like, have a business plan. Just have one. Like, things may, come into your life and things may completely change, but it's good to have some sort of plan to follow so you kind of know where you're at. And initially it was just sort of looking at, okay, who's my target audience going to be? What kind of industries do I want to be working in? Which at the time was very much focused on musicians, and small businesses, really. I've always sort of supported smaller independent businesses over the sort of larger corporations. I think that's just sort of the way I've been brought up, really.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was going to like independent cafes rather than like the sort of bigger chains. And I sort of realized what the difference was between the two. You know, like the independent ones have got something really unique to offer, but the sort of corporate ones tend to just kind of they just have a bit of a blanket, like, oh, it's the same everywhere you go. You know, it's sometimes like, I will say, I sometimes it doesn't feel like there's any personality there, but that's you know, that's what I loved about the independent ones. And and obviously the other big difference was, so the corporate ones have got a massive marketing budget, and they can hire, you know, marketing companies from London and spend 50 million whatever to do all their marketing. But an independent one doesn't necessarily have that budget. So
definitely,
I wanted to help show what they had to offer, especially in Ipswich, because I don't think that Ipswich is the best at advertising what there is to offer. Like, everybody I speak to is like, oh, there's nothing on in Ipswich, man. But it's like, if you get in the right circles, and you kind of, you got to keep an ear to the ground.
Ipswich needs a rebrand. Maybe you're the man to remarket Ipswich.
Who knows? Yeah, hopefully. At least I can help. Yeah.
So photography was your hobby, but you managed to find quite a niche part of that eventually, didn't you? So you started working with properties.
Yeah.
Tell us how you got into that. What took you there?
So I think this was after my first. Yeah, it must have been after my first year in business. So going through my accounts, and first year didn't have very good turnover, but I guess it was okay for a lockdown. And I was probably only getting booked maybe once a month or something like that. It wasn't really enough for me to sort of consider it to be like a career, really.
Yeah.
It was still a bit of a hobby. But I was running a business. So with the photography side of things, obviously I was sat there every day when I was like working on my laptop or planning things, and, you know, researching people that I might want to work with. And my camera was sat there on my shelf looking at me every day. And I was like, I've invested in this bit of kit and it's sitting there doing absolutely nothing. Like, what's going on? So I knew something needed to change. And at the time I was sort of like, oh, you know, still didn't know what was going on with the lockdowns. And I was like, oh, do I just get a real job? Great.
Yeah.
And, you know, go work in like a supermarket or something like that. So I was on Indeed, and I thought, oh, come on, like, I've invested the time, I've got the skills, like, you know, it's something I'm looking to build for the long term. So I sort of thought, well, I'll, you know, see if there's any jobs using a camera. I was looking around at jobs for videographers, same as when I started up my business. There was nothing. And then I thought, well, I could always do some photography. I mean, that's always been a real passion and a joy of mine, mostly to do with sort of nature. And sort of landscapes and things like that. But then, like, I was on Indeed, saw a job for a property photographer, and I thought, God, I could give this a good go. So I went into the estate agent. I kind of had an interview, but like, I sort of walked in and they basically offered me the job. They were like, we were expecting him to look like you, so you've got the job. I was like, fantastic. So yeah, that was quite sort of fortuitous, but yeah, kind of picked things up from there, and like they showed me their kind of methods for doing it, and helped them to really sort of scale their business. You know, it started off, they were probably turning over sort of 10 to 12 properties a month. And then when I came on board, I freed up all of their agents' time so they could go out and win more listings, where I could be doing all of the photography and the media.
All right, okay.
And basically help them scale up to, I think at their peak, they were sort of doing 40 to 50 properties a month.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it's an insane growth in the company.
You were taking pictures for every one of those properties, were you? Or just a select few?
Everyone that went up for sale. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't deal with lettings at all, because in the world of sort of lettings and property photography, like, it's ridiculous that by the time the photos have been sent over, they've found somebody to let the property out to. Like, by the time I've even started editing them, like, they've found somebody, because the rental demand is so high. It's just crazy. So yeah, it was only really the sort of property sales side of things. But yeah, I mean, I went from being booked, like, say, once or twice a month.
I was going to say, you must have been once to like crazy numbers.
Every single day. And I was working It's probably doing like 16 to 18 hour days.
Really? Blimey.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
for
incredible. That's
about,
absolutely incredible.
I think it was about 6 or 8 months that I did that, like just hammered it out. And it was really intense. I wasn't getting anywhere near enough sleep.
Yeah.
I'd probably be editing up until about 2 a.m., go to sleep up at sort of 6, 7 a.m., drive down to Colchester where I was working, and yeah, off and about again. But you know, I worked with that agent for, gosh, probably about, I think we did 4.5 years together. So we really got to help each other grow. And in that time, you know, sort of after the first 6, 8 months, um, of using their sort of methods and their systems, I thought there's got to be something better that we can do, because I was seeing other sort of other agents that had just better photography, and I wanted to get them to the same point so they could be competing with the big dogs.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I went off and did a few courses, and yeah, did a lot of research, and then found a sort of methodology that worked really well for me. They were absolutely over the moon with it, and thought, right, you know what you're doing now. We don't need to kind of keep teaching you and guiding you along the way. And yeah, you know, we sort of helped each other grow from there, and got them to the point where then they were able to open up a new branch in Chelmsford. So yeah, we sort of we parted ways very gracefully, and I think it was wonderful to have helped them get to that point. And I think that's something that I really love in business, is actually
Yeah.
helping someone along a journey, sort of over a sort of 3 or 4 year process, and getting them
Exactly.
to this
Yeah.
point is like that to me, just it fills
Yeah.
me up so much.
Well, that must have made you so valuable to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd certainly like to think so. And yeah, sort of once I sort of learned that skill, I thought, well, I've done it for these guys. Like, there's got to be other agents out there. And yeah, so I've sort of worked with probably 10 or 15 agents over the last sort of 4 years since I kind of delved into property. And yeah, sort of started doing drone photography as well as an extra service, and drone videos. And yeah, on the sort of higher end houses, we'll usually do sort of social media videos, YouTube videos, and things like that as well.
Sure. So, is finding a niche the most important bit about your success in this creative industry?
This, do you know what? I actually get this question so much, and there's such a conflict. I think yes, it is, purely for the reason that it's so much easier to market yourself. The first like 2-3 years, when people were like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I'd proceed to basically give them a dissertation about what I did. They didn't ask for that. I was just rambling and like, "Oh, so I kind of do a bit of this, but I also do a bit of this, and I help these people. I help these people. Oh, here's some other clients that I've worked with." Do you know what? Now, when people say, "Oh, what do you do?" I help estate agents sell homes faster and for more money.
So you're not even mentioning...
It's super simple. I don't even mention photography. But
yeah, I was going to say, it's like, why do you not even mention photography? Do you feel like,
well,
does that help you get more clients? Or?
Usually it's because people then ask, so what do you do? Like, how do you help them do that? So it immediately
like
engages them. Yeah. It's essentially like a hook. And I found that is a lot more successful. I'm immediately saying who I help within the only sentence, really.
Yeah.
And it creates a bit of intrigue, which I think really does help to, get people sort of engaged in a conversation about it. And then from there, you know, we can see if I can help them or if I can help somebody that they know. And yeah, I've kind of thought about changing it a little bit, because I now don't just do stuff with estate agents. I've started doing things with like professional lets and Airbnbs.
Okay.
Started doing little bits of work with hotels as well. So what I initially did was very much hone in on estate agents and just like get really, really good at that one thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm sort of like, okay, well, I've done that. I've got a lot of experience. I can kind of apply some of these things further out and further out and further out and broaden it. So it's easier to become known for one thing and then expand than it is to try and be known for everything from the beginning.
Yeah.
That's my one kind of big bit of advice for it.
No, definitely. Yeah.
But that being said, when you're first starting out, you just got to take every job that comes your way,
Yeah.
because you never know. You might think like, oh, I really want to do motorsports, and you do a couple of motorsports videos, and you're like, this is okay. And then I don't know, a restaurant comes along, it's like, hey, can you film some food videos for me? And at that point, if you were like, no, you might be saying no to an opportunity that actually that
Would
ends
lead
up
you
being your
somewhere.
career.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So like,
yeah.
I think in the initial stage, it is just saying yes to everything and trying stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bit like getting a job when you apply for jobs, like you might try bar work for a little bit. You might try working in like hospitality or retail
Yeah.
or whatever you might find. And then you kind of hook onto something that you
Yeah.
enjoy.
So it wasn't on that initial business plan, property.
No. Not at
Okay,
all.
interesting.
No,
Yeah.
I really fell into it. Like it was just a job on Indeed that I
Yeah.
thought, I mean,
Yeah.
I've got the camera. We'll see if it works.
That's yeah.
But it's weird because everybody I've spoken to about property has fallen into it. No one's had a plan. Like I'm going to go and do property. Yeah, even a lot of the estate agents I've worked with, they're all just like, oh, it just kind of happened. I didn't really plan it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's always sort of there.
Yeah. But I suppose by picking a niche, you can really, like you said, you can really hone in and get really, really good at that. Whereas if you're like, I'm going to do music one day, I'm going to do property one day, and maybe headshots the next day,
Yeah.
you can't really get really good at one thing.
Yeah, I think I think I think you can. I think it just takes a lot longer.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's more so for the marketing. Like I do other stuff. Like I do music videos. I do. I work with a lot of bars and do sort of cocktail videos and things like that because they're things that I really enjoy. But when I'm advertising online, when I'm talking to people, I just tell them I do property.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier. And then, it may lead on to so do you do anything else? Oh yeah, well I do some videos for bars and, it can lead on to other work, but primarily it's just more for the marketing point of view.
Yeah. Okay. You said you were working like 16-hour days.
Yeah.
Having the passion must have been the utmost important thing.
It was the only thing that kept me going. Yeah. Passion and a really comfy bed. That's my advice. Get a good bed that you can sleep in and just you need a good reset.
So you can only do 16-hour days if you absolutely love what you're doing.
Yeah. So true.
16 hours
so
of
true.
hell, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was tough, and I definitely had those days where I was like, "Can I keep doing this? Like something's got to give at some point," and I hope it's not me. It was a good challenge, but you know what? I definitely learned a lot about myself and resilience, and I think just taking each day as it came, rather than thinking, oh my God, I've got an entire year of 16-hour days. That's I don't know however many hours. It was more like, okay, right, I'm just going to do today.
Yeah.
Get through it. Just going to do today. Get through it. Yeah, it definitely helped.
Yeah. You mentioned this a bit in what you were saying before, but the media landscape is constantly changing, isn't it? So what are some of those changes that you said you added drones and you've added new forms of media. Tell us about how your business has changed since the start.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the beginning, it was just like kind of doing a lot of like flash photography, which I think still has a place, but mostly in nightclubs is what I've kind of seen. But yeah, it's definitely changed a lot, and as more people are kind of cottoning on to different sort of like newer, better methods, then it kind of raises the bar again, and then it's like kind of everyone's kind of waiting, or someone will discover a new, even better way, and then they'll just try and like push things further. What I have seen somewhat recently is which has been pretty cool, is like AI being integrated into property videos.
Okay.
And yeah, it's pretty clever stuff, and when done well, it looks so cool.
How does that work?
I've only just got a very little grasp on it, but I will give you my best understanding.
Go ahead.
So, okay, say like for instance, this tapestry behind me. So you could have like a shot like coming in through the door. It sort of sweeps around. You get a shot of the tapestry, and then basically they'll take like a still or maybe like a 2 or 3 second clip, plug it into like say Google's Gemini or something like that, and then animate it. So you might get like the elephant moving, the tree kind of swaying, like something like that. You get some sort of movement, but it's like it's obviously AI and it's obviously animated.
Yeah.
And then it will click, and then it will switch back to reality, and then like carry on with the tour. But it's just like a little like, oh wow, that's really cool. Like it kind of engages the brain, takes a moment. I'll be completely honest, I don't think it helps sell a house.
Oh really? Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't really have any value for like, okay, like this is actually like really, really useful and really like helping to sell this house.
Sure.
I think what I have also noticed as well, there's definitely been like trends of like crazy speed ramped videos and things like that, to be honest, that it just seems like it's videographers trying to impress other videographers.
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I'll be brutally honest, it does just seem like a bit of a pissing contest.
Yeah.
Like, it's quite funny to see though, but like, you know, you sort of get to a point where you're like, I haven't actually seen any of the house. I've seen about 3 seconds of one of the rooms, but the rest has all just been like crazy fast, like zoom, 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 like you're going outside, inside, you're getting like nighttime, daytime, like it's like they look really cool. But I feel like that's about as much value as they hold.
Yeah.
And I guess it helps brand the agent as well.
Yeah.
But
Is this something you're gonna incorporate, or you less
I've
keen
sort
on?
of I've toyed with the idea. I may have a little experiment with it if there's the right sort of thing that comes up, but I prefer to like, certainly on like a luxury property, it speaks for itself. Like somebody has designed that and built it with such care that I feel like I'm doing it a disservice
Yeah.
if I don't show all of that off. Like I did, it was a £1.5 million house down in St. Osyth, just near Clacton, and this guy had built the house by hand over the last 26 years. Like no expense spared. He's got half a Rolls Royce coming out of his bed, out of the living room wall that turns into a bar. Like you press a button and it pops
that is
open.
quite something.
And the bonnet pops up and there's like a mini bar in there. Like he's built, it's got like a steam room, an infrared sauna, and a regular sauna downstairs that he's built. Laid all of the blocks of like the paving by hand. Like, and yeah, I could have just ran through the house and made a 30-second video, but it doesn't really sing, you know, it doesn't really, it's not like, it doesn't show what he's done over the last 26 years. So we did a bit more of a slowed down approach. We did a sort of video walkthrough, and I think it ended up being, I think I probably shot about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes worth of footage and trimmed it down to about 7 minutes. But yeah, really just showing those best bits. That's the best way.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Have you ever tried to push the bar yourself?
That's a really good question. Yeah, I have. I guess I kind of created a bar for myself. So back when I was working with that first agent, and like they initially just hired me for photography, but then I said, look, guys, I can do video. Like that's actually what my business was kind of set up to do, was video. And they said, okay, right. Gave me a couple of examples of what they like. It's a London agent. I think he works for Savills or something. I mean, he's working with multi-million-pound London houses that look great, and I was working with sort of, you know, 2 up, 2 down townhouses that, you know, if they had a nice bit of design, I mean, fantastic. I can really make them sing. But yeah, I basically kind of created the format for their videos, really, which was quite exciting. And you know, they trusted me a lot at that point, because I was 19 when I started doing work with them. So yeah, there was a lot of trust involved, but I was really creative with it, and they kind of fell in love with the videos that I did, and then sort of booked me for more and more videos. And a lot of it was just being really creative with the transitions. Like I remember the first house that I did for them, I was using I don't even know what they're called, the bit below the banister and above the stairs, you know, like the upright bits. I was using those, and like I did like a sort of panning shot going across them, and then between each one I basically edited in a different shot from the house. So it was like a really quick,
that's
like
cool.
you got like a living room, bathroom, like kitchen.
So you
and
get
then
to
it
keep
went
some
into the
creativity.
video.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think, and they really encouraged it, and they loved the sort of creativity that I brought to it, which was amazing. And the videos got them results as well. Like most importantly, like I liked it because I was making cool videos and they looked really cool, but like they were loving it because they looked really cool. Yeah. But it also helped them sell the properties, you know. Like I think that first one I did, they ended up putting it up for like an open house so people could come over and have a look. I think they got, I think it was like 15 or so people booked in for the open viewing. They got 11 offers on the day and ended up selling for 35k over what they were asking. The next one that I did sold within 48 hours of being on the market. So like those are really the results that, you know, that I could sort of get for people, and that's really why they hire me. Not just because I make a pretty video.
Where do you think that initial trust came from? Because you were 19 years old, quite young.
Yeah, that's
how
it's
does
hard
someone
time to get trust
you at 19?
I wish I could be inside their heads and find out. Do you know what? I think it was just the way that I carried myself, the way that I conducted myself. I wasn't lazy. I was very motivated. The language that I used when I spoke with them, I think that was a big one actually, was that, I mean, I kind of learned it from them, but I was quite good at parroting, I suppose, and you know, picking up on specific language that they use, like rather than saying, like they don't use clients or customers, they use vendors. So a vendor is the person selling the house. Like little things like that, but I pick up on them really, really quickly and just incorporate them into my language. And it's now so much part of my language that when I talk to people who have nothing to do with property, I'm starting to use it. And
I suppose at the end of the day, if you're offering a good product and they can see that you're like everything that you said, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, that's it. And I think, you know, I think that trust was built. Obviously, I was doing the photography for a little while. And they kind of felt like they got to a point where they could leave me alone and trust me to do it. And they didn't have to be there and say, oh, make sure you get a photo of that. Don't take a photo of this. Make sure it's like this and not like that. So I think that was sort of the initial build up. But then in terms of the video, I think it was just like a bit of a punt. And they took a chance on it just to see what I could do. And then when they saw the result, they were like, well, okay, like, yeah, he does actually do what he says he's going to do. He's, you know, very good and yeah, can produce a good result. So,
sure. Tell us what advice you'd have for someone who wants to start a creative business, but they feel like they're never going to get repeat clients, never going to have every day booked up. Because your story is incredibly inspiring. So give them a bit of advice.
Oh, thank you. What advice would I give to someone starting up? I mean, just do it. Do it. Like, you can get so bogged down in planning. I've found myself in this boat, even recently, like where I've spent so long planning a thing that I haven't actually done the thing and the opportunity's gone. Okay. Just don't fall into that boat. Just
start doing it.
Literally, do you know what? Just take one action today. Like, if you're listening to this today, what one thing? Just make it small. Make it super easy. Like, whatever it might be. Maybe it's like, okay, I'm gonna go and find 10 people that I'd like to work with.
Yeah.
And then the next day, okay, I'm gonna reach out to 2 of them. Like, that's super manageable. Like, picking up the phone and calling them or going in person. I'm a big fan of both of those because you get an immediate human connection. But like, dude, emails, they get lost. Anyone can hide behind an email. Anyone can hide behind a message on Instagram. I'm a big fan of a voice note, as you might know. And often because I'm like on the go and I'm doing things, it's like, it's just so it's just in my nature. And as well, I think sometimes like a message can come across really cold, but like if you've got the intonation of somebody's voice, you can hear how it's supposed to come across, like how they said it in their head.
It's 100%. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, I mean, just do it. Like, the landscape's changed so much since I've started. I'm now kind of having to sit down and think, right, like, what's my next 5-year plan going to be? Because it's changed so drastically in the last 5 years, especially with AI and things like that coming in, which I think it is a challenge, but I think it's also an opportunity, and it's down to those who harness it and use it. I definitely don't think use it for everything, because then you're going to be no different to anybody else who can just plug away. But if you sometimes using it for like the quite sort of time consuming tasks can be useful if you're doing other things in the meantime. But I actually listened to something the other day that was talking about use of ChatGPT, and saying like the cognitive load that you're removing from your brain has everlasting effects, and it's like really, really damaging. So I'm holding my hands up. I've used it for a lot of things,
but you don't think for yourself anymore.
Yeah, that's it. And actually, like writing is such a skill, and I think people are using it less and less and less and less. And like, even like looking through Instagram posts at the moment, like I can tell those that are people that have written it and those that have been written by AI. Like there's a very clear form that AI uses. And it just doesn't feel as genuine. It doesn't feel like, oh, okay, I don't have as much connection with this person now. I'm not getting an insight into them. Where I feel like, if someone is just writing and almost, I've always used social media as like a bit of a journal, and sort of a bit of a reflection of whatever I'm feeling or whatever's been sort of going on. Just kind of write. I really don't care if anybody reads it. I'm kind of doing it as a documentation for me. And I think that's a good way to do it, rather than using AI in that sense.
What do you think's next on the innovation? What's the next thing along?
For myself, or in the sort of media world?
The industry.
What is next? I mean, like I'm seeing. To be honest, I'm seeing like on sets and on TV sets and on film sets, camera operators are being replaced by robots. It's crazy. And I remember like writing into my business plan, partly why I picked this was I was like, oh, this is like a super future-proof job. I was like, they're never going to replace me with a robot. Well, they're doing it. It's been 5 years. I'm like, oh my God. I thought like, okay, maybe in like 20 years or something like that. But you know what? The rate that things are advancing at the moment, like this has been the last 5 years. The next 5 years, it's exponential growth, isn't it? So it's like, it's not just going to be like, okay, we're going to get the same growth over the next 5 years. We'll probably get the same 5 years worth of growth in the next year. So like, if we were having this conversation this time, like next year, I can't even begin to imagine what is going to be out there. I think there's more of an opportunity, I suppose, for sort of digital creators. It's becoming ever more accessible than ever, which I think is a fantastic thing. And I like to see more people being creative and more people sort of using sort of media as a form of telling their story or telling another person's story. And I think, I think that might actually be the kind of next thing. Is it's gonna highlight who the really good storytellers are, and that's where people are going to flock to, rather than those people who know how to do some crazy settings on the camera and make it like give it a cool light effect. Because like that, that's it. Yeah.
Just before we end, tell us a bit about your podcast, because you've got the perfect voice for a podcast, I have to say.
Thank you very much. That's quite funny, actually. My I'll do a little a little aside to that, and then I'll talk about the podcast. But my brother makes videos on Instagram. He's a recipe developer and food writer, and the amount of people that I've had send me his videos and say, is this you doing the voiceover? Because our voices sound identical. It's like, it's really, really weird. The way that we talk, like the tone, everything just sounds identical. It's so funny. But anyway, my podcast. So it is currently called, I think it's currently called the Peking Pod.
That's cool.
Name subject to change. It was just a placeholder for now. Again, that's another thing. Don't get too bogged down on the name or the logo or the website. Just get something up and then it can change. It's fine. Yeah. But yeah, it's called the Peking Pod at the moment. I think I've got one episode published. I've got 2 that are edited, ready to go. You can find it on Instagram, peaking_podcast or peaking_pod. I should really know the handle. Shows how long it's been since I've done anything with it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing where it goes, building the studio out, and just inviting some young entrepreneurs along, and getting a bit more of an insight from them and their journey, kind of similar to what you guys are doing. We just want to spread the advice around, really, because the more people that that hear it and can hear it from somebody who's done it. I'm not that far into my journey. I'm literally like I'm 24 now. I started when I was 18, so I'm still like baby steps. I'm still right at the very beginning. But if there's any bit of what I've said that resonates with somebody or that can inspire anybody to do their own thing and start, even if it's just like start doing 30 minutes in the evenings that build something that then turns into a business, or even if it's just like a weekend thing, like fantastic. I feel like I've helped somebody in the world, that's really fulfilling.
Well, it's fun anyway, isn't it? It's good fun.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on socials?
Instagram. Instagram's the best place to find me. Peaking_media. And go check out my stuff. I've got some old reels on there which you may well enjoy watching. Never gonna take those down. They're a good laugh. Sort of day in the life kind of stuff. I did some funny ones back in the day to kind of like boost my growth and things like that. Which was good fun. But yeah, mostly what you kind of expect to see upcoming is it's going to be a lot more property content coming out. And just kind of follow along for the journey. Who knows what the next chapter holds, but there'll definitely be some stuff about the podcast studio being built, and that'll also be available for hire. So if you guys ever did want to meet up in person and have an in-person podcast, and we'll have all the videos set up and everything, and we'll do all the editing. We can chop it up, clip it up for socials as well.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. That's been
thanks very much for your time, guys. Appreciate it. Cheers.